Well, hello there. I'm pretty sure you've learned some basics about environmental audit in part 1, but hang tight, there's more coming for you in part 2. In the second segment, you will be learning about the principles, managing an audit program, pros and cons of environmental auditing, and the risks of audit activities. Come along! There are 5 fundamental principles of auditing. Knowledge of these will help an organization to deliver an audit program that meets the needs of internal and external stakeholders and produces reliable and valid audit findings. So, the first audit principle is ethical conduct, which is fundamental to any organization. Ethical conduct is the foundation of professionalism. An auditing process is done honestly, professionally, ethically, and free from any bias or conflict of interest, thus proving that the audit findings are valid, factual, and supported. Next, fair presentation means that an organization reports based on the objective evidence and the facts that the organization has seen during the audit. Significant obstacles encountered during the audit and unresolved diverging opinions between the audit team and the auditee is reported. Besides, audit findings, audit conclusions, and audit reports reflect truthfully and accurately the audit activities. Due professional care is the application of diligence and judgment in auditing. At all stages of the audit team needs to treat it as a professional exercise, such as being appropriately planned and prepared, and understanding the auditing process. The auditors in any organization should be independent of the work activity or the process they are auditing, free from bias and conflict of interest. Independence is the basis for the impartiality of the audit and objectivity of the audit conclusions. On the other hand, auditors should maintain an objective state of mind throughout the audit process to ensure that the audit findings and decisions will be based only on the audit evidence. Audits should be evidence-based, meaning that the audit findings should be supported by objective evidence. It is based on samples of the information available, since an audit is conducted over a finite time and with limited resources. Thus, the appropriate use of sampling is closely related to the confidence placed in the audit conclusions. Now, let's take a look on how we will manage an audit program. Other than being called as audit program, it is also called as audit plan. It is an action plan that documents what procedures an auditor will follow to validate that an organization is in conformance with compliance regulations. The audit program should also describe how working papers, the documented evidence of the audit, will be collected, reviewed, and reported. There are 3 types of audit program, and they are standardized audit programs, tailored audit programs, and compliance audit programs. Audit program is responsible to establish the objectives of audit program, establish the procedures of audit program, ensure the implementation of audit program, ensure that appropriate of audit program records are maintained, and lastly, to monitor, review, and improve the audit program. The 4 main objectives of the audit program is to 1. Determine compliance with company policy and procedures, 2. Determine the effectiveness of the policy and procedures, 3. Determine the accuracy of reports generated by department personnel, and 4. Evaluate the adequacy of internal controls. Now, let's go through the procedures of audit program. There are 7 procedures of audit program. It will all be explained later, but you have to remember that the first procedure of audit program is 1. Planning. Second procedure is assuring. 3. Selecting. 4. Conducting. 5. Maintaining. 6. Monitoring. And 7. Reporting. There are 9 audit program implementations. Firstly, communication between the audit team and the auditee for the audit program. Secondly, coordinating and scheduling. 3. Establishing and maintaining the evaluation of the auditors and their continual professional development. 4. Provide only the necessary resources. 5. Select the audit team. 6. Conduct auditing activities. 7. Control auditing records. 8. Review, approve, and distribute audit report. And last but not least is the 9th, which is audit follow-up, which is optional. Now, let's take a look at the audit program records. There will be 2 kinds of records, which are record related to individual audit and record related to audit personnel covering subjects. Audit plan, audit report, and non-conformity report are examples of records related to individual audit. Meanwhile, records related to audit personnel covering subjects are useful for auditor competence and performance evaluation, helpful for audit team selection, and maintenance and improvement of competence. Next, in audit program monitoring and reviewing, the audit team will have to monitor the performance of audit program and check whether its objectives have been met. Firstly, the ability of the audit teams to implement the audit plan. Secondly, conformity with audit program and schedules. And 3, feedback from audit clients, auditees, and auditors. Preparation in this stage will lead to corrective and preventive actions to improve the audit program. Let's look at the advantages of audit program. Firstly, audit programs provide a clear set of instructions for the work to be done. This includes the responsibilities of the auditor, auditee, and the audit team. Next, it provides a clear record of work done and by whom. Thirdly, work can be reviewed by the senior auditors. Fourthly, work will not be duplicated. Next, no important work will be overlooked. The last advantage is the evidence of work done is available for use in defining charges for negligence. How about the disadvantages of audit program? Firstly, it is too rigid. It might decrease the initiative of efficient staff. It involves a lot of mechanical audit work, and the auditors might overlook in the new area. Let's move on to learning the audit activities. There are 7 audit activities, and they are categorized into planning phase, initiation phase, checking phase, and the phase to act. The first thing to do before we initiate the audit is to appoint an audit team leader. You surely need someone to be responsible in monitoring the audit process. The second step is to define the audit objectives, scope, and criteria. It is important to get a strong base in understanding the criteria of the audit we're about to do. Thirdly, we must determine the feasibility of the audit before selecting the audit team. Only then, we can establish the initial contact with auditee. Next, we will learn what these 4 individuals have on their plate as their responsibility. Auditors will be the one that has to conduct document review. Then, audit program manager will have to schedule reviews among the team members and clients. After that, clients authorize the reviews, receives, and distributes the report, while auditee will provide document. The last activity for planning phase will be making a final preparation for audit plan, such as ensuring all topics have been allocated and assigned to the members in the audit team. The responsibilities include checking the site areas, activities, and monitoring of the audit process. Last but not least is preparing the work documents and reviewing the relevant information. As we start to the initiation phase, we shall conduct an open meeting with the clients, ensuring plenty communication during audit, reviewing roles and rearrange responsibilities of guides and observers for the audit. Only then, we have to collect and verify the information provided. The team members will get their work on to generate the audit findings and prepare to draw conclusions from the audit. The last step will be conducting a closing meeting. The second action phase is preparing, approving, and distributing the audit report. How would you know if the audit has been completed? The audit is completed when all activities described in the audit has been successfully carried out and the approved audit has been distributed. The audit report should be issued within the agreed time period while ensuring it is dated, reviewed, and approved in accordance with audit program procedures. It is important to note that audit team members and all report recipients that have been distributed earlier need to respect and maintain the confidentiality of the report. If you are required to do so, remember to not breach the trust given. In the last phase, we have to conduct audit by following up. The auditees should keep the audit client informed on the status of these actions. Follow-up can be done by reviewing corrective actions, plans, and results. You can do so by interviewing the staff, review new processes and documentation, or re-audit if you need to. Wow, we learned a lot. So let's recap what we have learned in part 2. Firstly, in the principles of auditing, we have gone through that there are 5 principles, which are ethical conduct, fair presentation, professional care, independence, and evidence-based approach. While in the topic of managing an audit program, the audit program should describe how working papers, documented evidence of the audit will be collected, reviewed, and reported. On the last topic, which is audit activities, we learned that there are 7 audit activities, which are: first, initiating the audit, conducting document review, preparing preparing for on-site activities, conducting the on-site activities, preparing, approving, and distributing of audit report, completion of the audit, and conducting audit by follow-up. Now, let's go to the short quiz. For the first question, how many principles of environmental auditing was discussed in this video? A. 4, B. 5, C. 6, and D. 7. The answer is B. 5. For the second question, the following are objectives of the audit program, except A. Determine the accuracy of reports generated by department personnel. B. Evaluate the adequacy of internal controls. C. Determine compliance with company policy and procedures. D. Determine which performance standards should be met. The answer is D. Determine which performance standards should be met. Who schedules reviews and manage programs? A. Auditor. B. Audit Program Manager. C. Auditee. And D. Client. Answer is B. Audit Program Manager. That's pretty much it for part 2 of environmental auditing. You're almost done. Don't forget to check environmental auditing part 3 to wrap up your lesson. Thank you. Bye.